Signals, blinkers, indicators. Today we're going to talk about how best to use them and why we use them. You use your signals to communicate to those around you, especially those behind you, your intent to move from your spot in the lane. What do I mean by that? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about what I mean by the phrase your spot in the lane. So as you can see, I'm keeping to the left of this lane that I'm on. Right now I'm doing what's known as lane sharing. I've talked about it in a previous video where if a lane is occupied by only bikes, you can imagine that lane as two lanes and then use one side of it to pass. So for instance, if I were to overtake this lady, I'm going to signal, move over to the right of the lane and then pass her. Same thing applies if I want to move to the next lane as well. Signal so those behind me will be clear on what I'm planning to do. Make sure I'm clear and then move over. Same thing when we are coming to a stop, as we are moving to the very edge of the lane. So we are moving from our spot on the lane. So signal and then come safely to a stop. And of course the same thing applies when we are rejoining traffic, as we are moving into traffic from the very edge of the lane. So we are moving from our spot in the lane. Now on the flip side, you don't have to signal when there's a wind in the road, because you can stay in the exact spot on the lane and then make the turn. So there's no need to signal in this case. So as I mentioned, we use our signals to communicate to those around us, especially those behind us, our intentions. So we're going to follow our friend here, and then you're going to see what those behind you would see if you were to use proper signals. So he signaled to merge onto this lane, and now he's signaling to move on to this side of the lane, and now he's signaling to make this right turn well before the turn comes, so that I'll know to react accordingly. Simple. So now I'm going to show you guys what I meant by showing your intent to move from the spot. That's best shown while finding parking. So I'm gonna look to park here. So I'm already signaling. I haven't seen a spot yet, but I'm going to keep this signal on until I find a spot, and then when I do, I can park. Now again, if you follow my friend, you can see what those around you would see. From his signaling, I know that he's intending to park, so I'm free to pass him anytime I want. So yeah, he can keep his signal on until he finds a spot, and if he doesn't, he can just cancel his signal and move on to the next spot. So there you go. Some of you might think the information in this video was painfully obvious, but this video was actually requested by one of you who reached out to me directly, as there are still a lot of misconceptions about how to properly use the signals. So to recap, you use your signals to communicate to those around you your intent to move from your spot in the lane. So signal well beforehand, signal often, and ride safe.